Darren Moss.
Let's all honor him by sharing moving letters from the heart. Nicholas, it's your turn.
The thing is, I didn't write nothing.
You didn't write anything?
No, well, I thought we were just burning them. I wrote Dad, yay.
I've seen 2 episodes from this new season so far, but I'm wondering if we could kind of go around the group and have each of you just tell me a little bit about, I guess, the emotional journey we might be seeing from your character this season, especially in terms of COVID and quarantine and how that has kind of changed the DNA of the show.
Genevieve does a lot of growing in season 2. She's there are moments where she isn't with her family, which was very fun to play because she very much is a protector and likes to be in the background and likes to make sure everyone else is seen and everyone else is okay. So when suddenly she has to focus on herself and her needs, and if she's okay, it leads to some awkward fun moments, which were awkwardly fun to play.
Well, Matilda is trying to determine her orientation with research and, of course, experimentation, her life goals, and at times Drea's heart gets hurt in the process.
Ooh, mysterious tease. Interesting.
Yeah, like we get a little bit deeper into Alex now that he's sort of like found more of a place in this like sort of family unit. He gets a little more comfortable. I think he's a little less trepidatious to like ask for what he wants in this season. So that obviously can cause some conflict between he and Nicholas. And he also has like a nice emotional journey where he like sort of explores, you know, like talking to his dad, who we meet in this season. And I'm playing a Coda, who's a Japanese child of a deaf adult. And so getting to sign with CJ Jones was really awesome too. So like we sort of see us play through the emotions of like talking about my relationship with Nicholas. So he gives some great advice too. So I'm really excited for people to see that.
Everyone did a really good job of answering this question without like really saying anything, don't you think? Like everyone really like, I find this question so hard because like nothing really ever happens that much in my shows, you know? Like it's not Lost. There's not like something like we're waiting to find out like why the fuselage. I've never seen Lost. I just know there's a plane. That's the only thing I know or whatever. I think like you mentioned COVID and like the kind of like the world set kind of in the current world. We don't like talk about it too much because like, but I had to kind of figure out when like building the season, like what are the nice things about the last year that we've had. And I think one of the nice things is kind of everyone had time to like think about like who they are and what they want to be and kind of like a lot of self-reflection. And that's kind of what all our characters are doing. And they're all kind of like in some way kind of standing up for themselves or putting themselves out there in like a way that's more full on than I think they would have otherwise.
I was going to say the thought to bring in the real world, to bring quarantine and this whole pandemic into the story, I thought was pretty amazing. I mean, I got to tell you, there's been other shows that have come out that are like, this is about what it's like to connect in this time. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to know about that. But I like that this feels like it's living in a real world without having to make that the point of it. And I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about the process of bringing that into the show, bringing the pandemic into the show without fully changing what the show is.
Yeah, it was really hard, especially because we didn't know like what the world was going to look like on April 8th, right? So like trying to get a read on what people would want to be in. Because remember, like at the beginning, it was like 2 weeks to save America. Like everyone thought it was about to end. So it was like, there was like a question of like, is this going to come out and people aren't going to want to go back to that place? But it's like, I made the right bet and we're still in that place. And for the show, not for the world. And it's been, yeah, I mean, I felt like not setting it now felt like a weird lie or something.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like a show like this is pretty uniquely positioned to approach it that way because, you know, even season 1, the bulk of the scenes are set at the house where you guys spend all the time. So it makes sense. It doesn't feel like the show has fully changed.
I mean, I'm always trying to find ways to lock out characters in a room. That's like all I ever want. Like if I had my way, every single episode, they'll get stuck in an elevator and have to like talk things through. So like this to me was like I really wanted to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so I'm curious then, I mean, I think especially for Maeve and Kayla, if I could hear you both talk about like what this past year has been like for you and what did it mean to return to work? What was that experience like to return to work on this show?
It's been a weird year. Not ideal. Definitely not something I would have chosen. But
You didn't like it?
and I wasn't a big fan, Josh. Not a big one.
Oh, okay.
Horror. No, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but we did get to film the show, which was really nice. There was definitely a moment where I thought maybe they weren't going to let us, but they did. And
Just one of those moments for you? You just said one?
I'm trying to not seem as panicky.
A lot of those moments.
I'm kind of a fun character, Josh, that isn't as anxious.
And Kayla, how has it been for you? What was it like to come back to set and have all of these new rules and masks and things like that in place?
I mean, there's definitely more isolation, but going on to set, you're still isolated because, you're confined to your dressing room sometimes all day, not to even get to film a scene. So it was just, it seemed like the whole process was more isolating, but just knowing, that, the actors were in the next room and that you could still FaceTime them while you're in your own dressing room because you can't physically go over to their dressing room. So it was a completely new environment. But even then, I still took like the Zoom online acting classes. I've taken up staff weaponry, which has been really fun. Perfected self-tapes because that is the new normal now. There's no more in-person auditions, but it's been quite an experience.
I think I have time for one more that we'll do another like round robin style thing. I'm mostly just curious. Well, maybe this won't apply, Josh, since you're not in the States at the moment. But for everyone else, let's say there's a day where things finally feel like they're back to normal and everything's open again. What do you miss? Like what can't you wait to do again? Maeve?
I would love to go to a comic book shop. Boy, do I miss those. They're so fun. Or like an antique store, go antiquing. I can't imagine like going antiquing now because so many people have touched the stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's old stuff and so many people have touched them, and that sounds so scary now, but it would be fun to go to there. I'd like to go back to New York. I like LA, but I very much miss New York.
Mm-hmm.
The food and my family, in that order. And I would like to see.
And Kayla, how about you?
Definitely, I would love to travel for fun and definitely travel for work. I've never had the privilege to travel and I want to experience it all, but for LA, just getting out and about, because I'm not vaccinated yet, but a lot of my friends are, so I'm just like, so it's just like a waiting game, but I just really want to travel and get out, go to the beach, sunbathe, everything.
Adam?
It's very simple, but like going to the movies, I feel like once I kind of get this vaccine situation on lock, I think I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. But I have heard they're like very safe with these HEPA filters that they've put in the theaters. And I was listening to a podcast with Zack Snyder talking about his new cut of Justice League, and I just feel like I'm like, dude, you spent like so much time on this, and I could watch it on HBO Max, but I feel like I'm like, it's such an experience watching it in the theater, and I kind of really miss that. So I did a lot of drive-ins during the quarantine, so I would really love to kind of make the leap to go to a theater one day.
And Josh, I mean, I guess I'm assuming things, but you're in Australia, so I know that I've heard that things are a little more normal there. Is that correct?
I don't know how to like yeah, it's good. Yeah. Do you know what's been, so everything's open here and there's like no COVID, and I've come back and I just want to go dancing so bad. I'm like a bit worried about it because I don't know if I can remember if I can dance. And every time I wanted to go out, my Australian friends, because they haven't lived the life I've lived, they're like, no, I don't want to go out tonight. They're like too tired or busy or something. And I'm like, do you know what my American friends would do for this opportunity? Just go and see a drag queen and have like a drag queen like sweat on you, and here you are wanting to go to bed early.
Why did I have to be born straight? Life is a cruel mistress.
Nicholas, what's going on? She's not queer? She's heterosexual.
Sometimes good things have to fall apart for better things to come together.
Shut up.
It's time for some grounding exercises.
I am not grounding right now, tell them.